You don't stop talking because you have nothing to say. You stop talking because your voice has become a liability. There is a specific kind of silence that isn't empty. It is heavy. It is fortified. It is the sound of a drawbridge being pulled up while the enemy is still at the gates. If you have ever felt your throat close up in the middle of an argument, not out of fear, but out of a sudden, icy clarity that speaking would only give them more ammunition, then you know this silence. It is not submission. It is strategy. And it is exhausting. Picture this. You are sitting across from someone who matters. A partner, a parent, a friend. The air is thick with unsaid things. They are pushing for a reaction, demanding an explanation, twisting your words before you've even formed them. You feel the heat rising in your chest, the urge to defend yourself, to clarify, to make them understand. But then, something shifts. A switch flips behind your eyes. The noise in your head doesn't get louder. It gets quieter. You look at them and you realize that every word you offer will be distorted. So you choose nothing. You withdraw into a shell of absolute stillness. Later, you lie awake, replaying the scene, wondering if you were cruel, if you were cold, if you broke something irreparable by refusing to engage. You feel guilty for your silence, but you also feel safe. Here is what is really happening beneath that quiet. This behavior is not a flaw in your communication skills. It is not emotional unavailability or stonewalling in the malicious sense. It is a sophisticated, high-level adaptation of your nervous system. Your silence is a defense mechanism forged in the fires of past invalidation. It is your psyche's way of saying, "I will not let you use my truth against me." You are not broken. You are protected. But protection comes at a cost, and understanding the mechanics of this silence is the only way to reclaim your voice without losing your safety. Let's break down the 5 psychological layers of why hurt people stop talking. Number 1. Your brain has reclassified speech as a threat. For most people, talking is a way to connect. For you, talking has historically been a way to get hurt. When you were vulnerable in the past, your words were likely minimized, mocked, or used as evidence of your instability. Your amygdala, the brain's threat detection center, has learned to associate vocalization with danger. So, when conflict arises, your body bypasses the logical center and goes straight to freeze mode. You're not being difficult, you're being survivalist. Your silence is a biological brake pedal slammed to prevent a crash. But this creates a loop where your need for safety isolates you further. Number 2. You are conserving energy for internal processing. While they are shouting, you are analyzing. This is often misinterpreted as indifference, but it is actually intense cognitive load. You are running simulations in your head. If I say this, they will do that. If I explain this, they will twist it. The mental effort required to navigate a minefield of potential misinterpretations is draining. You stop talking because you are exhausted by the labor of being misunderstood. You're not checking out, you are overworking. Your silence is the result of a mind that is trying to solve a puzzle that has no solution. And that exhaustion leads to a deeper, more dangerous pattern. Number 3. This is where it gets weird. Your silence is a form of control in a situation where you feel powerless. When you cannot control how your words are received, you control whether they are sent at all. It is the last resort of agency. In moments of chaos, withholding your voice is the one thing you can dictate. It creates a boundary that cannot be crossed because there is nothing to cross. You're not manipulating, you are anchoring. But this sense of control is illusory, because while you hold the silence, the narrative continues without you. They fill the void with their own assumptions, and you lose the story anyway. Number 4. You are experiencing sensory and emotional flooding. Before the silence hits, there is often a surge of adrenaline and cortisol that overwhelms your capacity to process language. This is not just stress, it is physiological overload. Your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for rational speech, literally goes offline. You cannot access your vocabulary because your body is preparing for fight or flight. And since fighting feels unsafe and fleeing is impossible, you freeze. You're not stubborn. You are flooded. Your system is screaming for a reset, and silence is the only way to lower the volume enough to think again. But there is a shadow side to this retreat. Number 5. You are punishing them with absence, even if you don't mean to. This is the hardest truth to face. Your silence, intended as self-protection, lands on the other person as rejection. It triggers their abandonment wounds, creating a cycle where their panic increases your need for silence, which increases their panic. You are not trying to hurt them, but your defense looks like offense. You're not cruel, you are cornered. But recognizing this impact is crucial, because it means your silence is not just about you. It is a relational dynamic that keeps both of you trapped in a dance of pursuit and withdrawal. Here is the beautiful contradiction. You are silent because you feel too much, not because you feel nothing. Your quiet is not emptiness. It is fullness spilling over the edges. You stop talking because your emotions are so loud that words feel inadequate, trivial, even insulting to the depth of what you are experiencing. You are guarding a heart that is incredibly tender, using armor made of ice to protect a core of fire. You are the most guarded person in the room, and also the most sensitive. This paradox is your superpower, but only if you learn to manage the temperature. But we must add a grounded caution. Silence becomes toxic when it becomes permanent. If you use silence to avoid all conflict, you are not protecting yourself. You are erasing yourself. There is a difference between pausing to regulate and shutting down to punish. If you find that you cannot speak for days, or that you feel a sense of superiority in your silence, it has shifted from defense to avoidance. This is where self-sabotage lives. The goal is not to talk more, but to talk safer. You need to learn the difference between a pause and a wall. A pause says, I need a moment. A wall says, you do not exist. Know which one you are building. So, how do you resolve this? You begin by honoring the silence instead of shaming it. Acknowledge that your quiet was necessary. It kept you safe when you had no other tools. Thank your nervous system for trying to protect you. Then, slowly, introduce small bridges. Use nonverbal cues. Write it down if you can't say it. Tell them, I am not ignoring you. I am overwhelmed. Give your silence a name so it doesn't become a mystery. You are learning to trust that your voice can be heard without being harmed. That is the journey. From silence born of fear to silence chosen for peace, to speech reclaimed for connection. Which team are you on? Do you shut down to survive, or do you speak up to fight? Let me know in the comments. And if you want to understand why your silence triggers such chaos in others, you need to watch the next video on the psychology of pursuit. Click there now and let's keep decoding the hidden language of your relationships.